Welcome. This is the second part of the tutorial about actions. In this lesson, we're going to create a watermark to apply to our photos in Photoshop Elements. In order to do this, we need to use Photoshop. Don't worry. Now, I will tell you that I am using Windows 7. I am using Photoshop Elements 10. Okay, so you'll see later in the lesson, there are different paths for different ways to get to a file. You can look those up online. Many people will show you how to do that, but I'm going to show you with the Windows 7 and Photoshop Elements 10. Now, it would be great if we could create a watermark action in Photoshop Elements, and I thought we could do that with the action player, and it would be nice to pull down this menu and see it here. Unfortunately, with the watermark, we need to create a new layer, and you know as well as I know that in the guided section, you don't have new layers. You have to go to the full edit mode. So that's why the guided section is out of this picture, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and go to Photoshop. Now, you probably may or may not have Photoshop. It's pretty expensive, but you can go to adobe.com, A-D-O-B-E.com, download Photoshop CS5. I'm using CS5 for free for 30 days. And then those 30 days, you can create actions and import them in the Photoshop Elements for you to use at no cost. Plus, you get to learn Photoshop, which is really exciting. Now I am in Photoshop. We're going to use a really basic photo. So I'm going to say File. You can choose Open and find a photo. It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to choose Open Recent Fire Hydrant. It's a really basic photo of a fire hydrant. And then next I need to make sure my layers panel is as shown. Sometimes you might see it like this. So just go ahead and do it just double click on the layer so you can see the layers. I'm going to pull up my actions panel. So I'm going to go to Windows, Actions, and you're going to see the actions here. You're probably going to have default actions. And in Photoshop CS5, you have to have an action set. And within the action set, if you turn this triangle, you see actions. In order to play an action, you click the action and you click the play button, and that will play that particular action which you can see here. Okay? But we're going to create our own watermark. But let me show you what I created and how we're doing this and what you can do. So I'm going to create a Photoshop hyphen actions. Okay? And this is what it does. So you highlight the action and you click play. I have it where it says a message. This is the first step that will create a new text layer so that you can edit the default My Photography name to your name. Click Continue, and you'll see over here it creates a text layer. Great. Then I have another message that says the next step will allow you to change your font, the font color, and size. Don't forget to change the default text to what you want to put, and then click the green check mark in Photoshop Elements. It won't be a green check mark in Photoshop to commit your text changes. So click Continue, and you can hardly see it. You got to remember, sometimes it may be big or small depending on your photo size. I have a 22.9 million or megapixel, sorry, 22.9 megapixel photo that's been shrunk down to 16.67%. So my 60 point font is going to look really small, but we can raise it up by just hovering over the T or typing it in or using the drop down and selecting something here. I'm going to hover over the T and I'm going to blow it up a little so you can see what I did. Let's say that I'm happy with that, and I click the check mark. And then it says next, your text opacity. In other words, how opaque is it going to be? Is it going to be gone or fully opaque where you see it? It's going to be reduced to 15% to blend in with the photo. Click Continue, and you're going to see it's going to change here, see? And you see how it changed there? Lastly, select the Move tool or press V in Photoshop Elements, the same thing, and move your text in the correct position. And I have one more message real quick. You can edit the text, and I'll show you how in a second, but basically that's what that says. You can go to the Move tool, move this around wherever you want, go over to the Layers panel. You can do this in Photoshop Elements. You can increase the opacity so you can see it more or less, and you can double click on the T real quick so that you can edit that name in case you spelled it wrong. Okay? So let me twirl this here, twirl this, and then let me delete the text layer. You can delete text, you can delete layers in Photoshop in many ways. You can select the layer and hit the backspace, or you can drag it to the trash can, or you can, excuse me, select the trash can with the active layer that's blue, and then click yes. That'll do it. Then let's create our action. Now for the tutorial, okay, we're going to use Photoshop Actions to implement the Photoshop Elements because I already created the files and I'll show you how to do it, don't worry. But we're going to create an action here right now. In order to create an action, remember you need to create an action set. I advise not putting in it the default actions because then you got to go find it, and that's just annoying. So go ahead and click on the folder, and we'll call it watermark, and then click OK, and this will create the action set watermark. And unfortunately, we have to create an action, and you can name it. I will call it the watermark if you want. I don't know, doesn't matter. Up to you. Click record. This is now going to record. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to select the T, the text tool, which is here. We're going to hover, we're going to go over to the photo here, and we're going to say, we'll use my name, Chris Photography. You can use whatever you want. I'm going to put a space. If you're on the Windows machine, you're going to press Alt and go to the numeric keypad and go 0169, and I'll put the copy symbol again, Alt and 0169 on the numeric pad, and now I'll give you the copyright symbol. You're going to click the commit and watch what happens in the action panel. It says make text layer. So now it's made a text layer. Great. Now I need to reduce this to blend in with the photo. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the opacity and I'm going to change it to about 15%. Okay, see, now another action has been recorded. Set current layer. Not every action is recorded, just so you know. In order for you to see which actions are recorded, you can just look in the panel here. When you're happy with what you did, all you have to do is click stop and your action is done. Remember that you can use the move tool and move your watermark anywhere you want, and you can also increase the opacity. You can also double click on the thumbnail to edit. It's up to you. So let's see how this works. Let me click the cancel. Let's erase this text layer. So this time we'll drag it to the trash can. In order to play it, you have to highlight the action and play it. So within how many seconds was that? 5 or 4 seconds, I have my watermark. Now do you see the power of a watermark, or the power of actions and why they're so useful? Within 15 seconds I did it. And did you know in Photoshop you can batch files? So you can create what they call a droplet, and then you drop your files onto this droplet, which is an action, and it will do it for you automatically. It's really cool. But anyways, side note. Now you're probably wondering, how did I put these stops in? Well, what you do is you will go to say make a layer, and you will go to the flyout menu, and you would choose insert stop, and that's where you create the message, and you put allow continue. If you don't allow to continue, then the person can't continue. That's not good. You click cancel. Also, whatever actions you create in Photoshop, make sure you save them. So you go out to the action, you have to highlight the action set, go over here, and then press save action, save actions, which will put it in the actions folder within Photoshop CS5. That's the one I'm using. Actions in and ATN. ATN is the action the extension. Excuse me. And just a side note, something else. This is a little. What is this little thing here? This is a black modal control. It indicates that this step will stop and wait for input via dialog box, as you have seen, or enter a return key. If you uncheck the black check mark here, it'll go through the steps and it won't do that one. Yeah. If you want to play one step at a time, just so you know, you can press the control key and then go ahead and click on the play button, and it will play just that one step. Okay, that's something else you can know. You can erase steps. You can move steps around if you want, so it'll fall right where that dark part is. Okay. You also have the option to go to, where is it? Playback options. You can play step by step, or you can do the accelerated. I usually choose step by step. And when you see this red modal box, The red modal box indicates that there's probably going to be at least one stop and wait for input step included. Okay, and you just have to play around with these to see how it works. It's pretty basic. Hit the record, do your thing, stop, and then play. And then your action set is the folder, and within the folder there's actions. This is the throwaway. This is a flyout menu so that you can do an insert stop to create a message. There's also insert menu item, but just I would rather you read up on that and understand what that means. Just something else you can now you can do. For example, if I were to click set current layer, I can click record and I can record another action within this action. So you can do many things with actions. It's not just the basics of what you see here. Now that we have our action, which is great, and you see how it works, what can we do with it?